There's three categories of vaginal products that I think are out there, and there's like a variety of ways that you can get it, but when do you use what? Hi, I'm your local OBGYN. I love women, and let's talk about it. So, you can't just stick anything up your vagina. Like, let me say that again. You can't just stick anything up there. So, don't get crazy ideas, all right? But there are things that you can literally get at the supermarket versus things that go all the way up to prescription level, depending on what your goal is for your vag. And here's what I will say. In my three categories, you get number one, which is lubrication. Okay, lubrication is what you're going to use for intimacy with or without somebody, depending on what your goals are. That is something that's going to sit on top of the tissue. All right, it's going to create glide. It's not going to moisturize your tissue, it's not going to penetrate your tissue. It is literally just there for a glide. This is where you get into like the KY jellies, the Astroglides, things like that, because they create that slick that sits on top of your tissue to make intimacy more comfortable. Then you get into things like moisturizers. So when you think about a moisturizer, okay, think about when like leather gets like old and cracked. And I'm not trying to say that you have an old cracked vagina. This can just be anybody for any reason. Maybe medications or other medical things are causing problems. But when you have sort of a drier vagina, you can add moisture, especially in a non-hormonal way, with things like oils, coconut oil. Some people use olive oil. Don't go putting butter up there, okay? You don't need extra salt and crap like that. Or you can add something like Replens that's over the counter. There's even other things like hyaluronic acid, and we use hyaluronic acid for our face, but you can use vaginal formulations and stick it down there to penetrate the tissue, and it will create some temporary plumpness to the tissue and temporary deeper moisture than just something that sits on top. Then when we talk about adding back some of that stretch and sort of your own moisture to that tissue, so that's different, okay? You're not just like adding moisture back like if you just oiled some leather, and you're not just sticking something on top like a glide. You're penetrating the tissue to make it thicker, stretchier, sort of like rewinding the clock on like an old rubber band, okay? That is a more intense treatment. That's when you want to consider using something like estrogen, and that can be either with full hormonal HRT, with local vaginal estrogen, and that can be in the form of a cream or a pill or a ring, a variety of ways. And there are some non-hormonal options for people that can't take hormones that are prescription strength, and again, in order to improve the integrity of the tissue down in your vag.